Yo, what is up? What is up? Welcome to a uh episode BIYG. I probably should come up with something else because and no, believe in your growth, yeah. BIYG podcast and please excuse me because I'm still collecting myself trying to let whatever happen because I have been feeling this attachment to Joe because TD Jakes, I think over the past 3 weeks. Wait, did he speak on Job? I don't know. Either way, I believe he did. And today I got into a discussion about Job like early this morning when I first woke up. And though today Potter's House they had a speaker, his message was more so about the path, basically using the illustration between Moses and the people leading them away from Pharaoh and stuff like that, going through the Red Sea. But when I came back from getting my groceries, which I'm trying to stop doing on Sunday, but I got back a little late so I can actually catch the word. But as soon as I turned it on, it hit the exact point which I believe God has been not wrestling with, but contending with me about, because when I heard TD Jake speak on it, it sat on me for the whole week and it would just come up here and there. And yeah, so the man basically said something that God said to me. I think it was 2 days ago because I put it in my notes. But my notes, I have like what 82 topics, so it refreshes. And I put one in last night, which is the gift of praise. I want to talk about that too. But no, I called it the allowance. And so what the man basically said as I turned on, which wasn't he wasn't focusing on this, but yeah, there are things. There comes a point in time where the enemy can't attack you. The enemy can't do certain things unless, and I mean, he always has to get permission. But I read Revelation as I woke up today, and for anyone who has a hard time reading the Bible, this is what I do. Bible app, they have a verse of the day. And I'm getting to the point now where I like reading the Bible, so it's getting easier for me. But I pick that verse of the day, I read that whole chapter, and then whatever happens, happens. But I read at least 5 chapters of Revelation. And so, I mean, I feel as though it gave me more insight to the situation. But yes, the man, he basically said, there are things that God protected us from, and there's hedges, there's certain things like that. And so with the allowance, which I think is what I might title this, I said there's a difference between God's giving and his allowance. See, God gives out of the love, but because of his compassion towards us, and he wants us to live a good life, God allows when there's a point to be made, a lesson to be learned. There will be moments in life when the enemy won't be able to attack you because God's protection will be so endowed and heavily over you. And, I didn't really go too far because I feel like when things happen, you shouldn't spend so much time trying to collect yourself. Like, you got to be, I don't know. If the spirit comes, I don't want to miss it, and I don't want anyone else to miss it. So yes, there should be some kind of professionalism, but there should also be a hastiness. There should be a desire to get out what is being spoken, or what you feel. You know what I'm saying? And so with that moment, I do think that in relation to Job, it's just like what really happened in the process where God allowed him to be tested, allowed him to be tried. And there was a verse, even though be it may not have any relation, but there is a verse in Revelations that I saw, and I titled the tag for it, How Job Pleased God. It's Revelations 12, verse 11. And they overcame and conquered him because of the blood of the Lamb and because of the word of their testimony, for they did not love their life and renounce their faith even in the face of death. And so I like the easy read version because I'm a little baby. But no, it basically says, they did not choose these things. They did not want these things over God. And that was really the whole test about it. because God is so confident. I said this, God is sure. God doesn't have to hesitate. There is no second guessing. Like, it's not by accident that God allowed something to happen or did something. He knows the outcome. And so my thing is, Job was so secure in the Lord, even with the losing of these things. And some people may say, well, it's a harsh, thing to take away somebody's sister, children, wife, their wealth, their cattle, whatever, But I even had a moment where I wept this week because I just you cannot understand that pain until you've been in it. And it's something that I don't want to go through, but it was something that I know I just had to shed a tear for the people that do, because it's hard. How I ask God, how do you minister to people that are constantly losing things and people? Because I mean, people aren't just things, but in retrospect, it's just the thing. This life is just the thing. And that's also what I want to get at with this verse, Revelations 12:11, because it's talking about the battle between the angels Michael and Satan in heaven. So the angels did not value their existence more than the power of God, more than the truth. They did what needed to be done so that light could prevail. And that's really what it came down to. So it's just kind of, I done forgot my point. That's the enemy. Anyway, but no, it's just understanding. Lord, bring it back. I'm gonna move on to the next point. But no, that's important. That is important too. Lord, bring that back, because I don't that matters. That's like the whole point of this conversation, is to not be so tied up in materialistic things. Because losing this life, I can have another life. I have another life. You know what I'm saying? And some people, we don't understand that, because we're so attached to this. We're attached to this one moment, because this is all we know. Most of us have not seen heaven. Most of us have not experienced God like that, face to face. Most of us have never experienced or seen an angel. So, it's hard to live and die for something, be a martyr for something that you haven't seen. But that's where I've also been asking and praying about the gifts of the Spirit. And, I'll say this. I believe that mine are the gift of faith, and I'm going to say wisdom. But you can't have wisdom without knowledge. So, I'm trying to let God convince me that I have some kind of knowledge. But, I've seen God move in my life, and I've seen, the way people interact with me in certain ways. And I can honest to God look and see that those are three areas. I say two, but three areas where I'm the strongest, and I'm okay with that. I can ask for other gifts, and God will gladly bestow them in the moment. But I don't need to walk around. The thing about humanity, the body was made to depend on other facets. The body, my skin cannot operate by itself. My mouth cannot do things by itself. My heart would just be a heart. It would still pump blood, but what would it be pumping for if there was nothing to keep going, to keep, and everything needs something. And so with these gifts, it's okay if you ask God to increase one area, but know that the body still, we need each other. Don't get so secluded. Now, don't get so secluded that you don't know how to come together. But also, there is a moment where God's glory will give you all the things that you need when you don't have people, when you are by yourself, but even still understand the power in relationship and connection to others. That's off point, but it's together, because in my conversation that I had today, which brought up Job, which was very I would say confirmational, but that's not a word, but it was very confirming. And I guess God wanting me to, or even, I don't know, this message needing to be spoken. The simple fact that it was like the enemy was testing my gangster, was testing my faith, because as I sit back and I look over, like I was saying, I look over my life, I could see that faith is one of the biggest things that God has given me and that I have. And so, I believe faith is the first of many. Though God desires us to want to prophesy, we should desire to prophesy. But I do, but even still, I have what I have. And when God allows for that moment to come where I can speak, because one, I can't speak in tongues, and it's not that I don't want to, it's not an urgency for me to, but I believe when the time comes, anything can happen. I mean, the miracle, the tongues, the interpretation, knowledge, wisdom, that's just what I believe. I don't put a limit on God. God can do whatever. I mean, if let's say, I don't know, let's say there's a train I don't know, this is crazy, but let's say a train's coming and there's a car in the way. I pick the car up and throw it over. I don't know. I just, maybe that's too out of the way, but that's just what my faith, you never know until you in the moment. But I believe that God would allow something to happen. And either way, no, for real though, seriously. I was talking to someone this morning, and Job just came up. And so it was, I hate getting into conversations, and God told me not to let it get too personal, that I missed the message, because that's a lot of what we do. We get so personal and have these vendettas, and it's like, the battle is for the Lord. Don't contend with the devil. Yes, you are a warrior for Christ, but that's a battle that's already won. Is it diligence? I don't know. Anyway, but I'm gonna try to do it without being messy. So, it's hard. I told God yesterday, I said, God, I'm not, and the way I said this, I don't feel as though it was a rebellious spirit towards God, because there are so many people in this world, they want to fight. They want to argue. I do not have an argumentative spirit. I have a confrontational spirit. I will speak against things that need to be spoke against, and I will come at what needs to be attacked in a certain manner, but I am not going to argue with you. I am not going to try to prove to myself that God is good. I don't have to do that. I don't have to do that. I may have to prove it to you, but even still, I don't have to do that. That would be God's doing, and that if God used me as a conduit, then okay. But until God says I need to do this thing so that they can see I'm real, I'm gonna sit in my spot. But there are a lot of people that they want to argue about the word of God. They want you to convince them so bad. Like, all right, with Job, the whole argument, why would God do that? Why would God allow him to be attacked? Girl, when God trusts you, and I say girl, just not, when God trusts you with a dilemma, it's for good reasoning. When God allows something to be taken, one, we got to stop thinking it's all about us. And it goes back to the Revelations, that verse where they did not love their life more than their God. They did not love this earthly existence more than God. And so that was really the whole test. And that's why I labeled that tag, how Job pleased God. And maybe that is not the whole essence of it, but for me, God allowed it because he knew that you cannot have him. You won't have him, because I've seen this. Why do you think I blessed him the way I did? Now, there are people, and I say this, the enemy can bless a person too, but even still, and I had to have this conversation with my mother, the enemy can only do what God allows him to do. So it doesn't matter whether the riches are in the hands of the wicked. It belongs to God, because you cannot give something to anyone else that never belonged to you. There's a lot of people out here that are giving, calling everyone anointed, saying, you're so anointed, you're so this. But do they even have the anointing? You cannot give something that you never had. That power belongs to God and God alone. And so, that got off point a little bit, and maybe I'm wrong in that. God contend with me. I don't mind it. I want God to come in my face and say, you said the wrong thing. You did the wrong thing. And let me show you what it really is. I love that. Live with me, spend time with me, because I sure want to spend time with you. Period. So, but my thing is, we cannot get so caught up in the things that God took, because let me tell you, as a counter argument, and it probably wasn't the best way, but I didn't really get to get my point across, because so many, like I'm saying, the argumentative spirit of people is hard to really speak, and especially through technology these days, if you're not actually using your voice to speak, words can be, and everything can be so misunderstood when you're spending time typing and texting. It's annoying to me. But my counterpoint was gonna be about Cain and Abel. And so it's like a lot of people will ask, well, why did God allow Cain to kill Abel? We have free will, right? And so the thing about it is, Abel offered something that was so pleasing to God. It's just like he lived his life. He lived a good life. And we want to get caught up in the moment, that momentary space between life and death. This this earthly moment in life and then death. We get caught in those few seconds of pain that we're going to experience potentially if we don't die in a peaceful state. But I speak that that there are no accidents. Some people, God allows things to happen for a reason. But I just felt that yesterday, and while I was laying down, that I speak against the spirit of accidents and incidents and untimely death, early death, because I don't agree with that. I think that we have began to say yes and amen to things that God hasn't, and I don't agree with that. And not just in the death department, but in so many areas of our lives, we've said yes, where God is saying no. That is not normal. That is not normal. It is not heaven sent. And this is also something that I want to speak on. And I got this. It's in First Jude. Give me a second. I gotta open my phone. It's in no, is it not? It's not First Jude. It's Jude 1. But it basically speaks about, you're not spiritual if you don't have the spirit. There's a lot of people saying, "Oh, I'm spiritual. Oh, I'm spiritual." No, you're wicked. You're wicked. And I mean, that just is what it is. Jude 1 and 19. It was speaking about let me see. All right, so let me read 8 first. It is the same way with these people who have entered your group. They are guided by dreams. They make themselves dirty with sin. They reject God's authority and say bad things against the glorious ones. Not even Archangel Michael did this. Michael argued with the devil. Wait, this the wrong part. Wait, where my verse at? Here it is. Okay, so it's 19. Jude 1 and 19. But no, even still, let me finish reading that, because this also showed me right here. Michael argued with the devil about who would have the body of Moses, but Michael did not dare condemn even the devil for his false accusations. Instead, Michael said, "The Lord will punish you." That's where, God told me not to even contend with Satan, because at that point, you got to be able to call it like it is. You can't sit here and let the enemy try to play you and attack you. Call it what it is. Some people gonna be offended, but you can't go around rebuking everybody, but you have to know when the devil is testing your gangster. I'm just saying. So anyway, but no, that was not the one. Jude 1 and 19. These are the people who divide you. They are not spiritual because they don't have the spirit. And so 18 says, they told you in the last times there will be people who laugh at God and do only what they want to do, things that are against God. And that's where all of this manifestation and I'm a universe and all this other stuff come from. And it's all witchcraft. It goes back to, you cannot give something you cannot take something that does not belong to you. You cannot give something that does not belong to you. And so, I understand people want to live good lives and they want to do this, but it costs something. The life that God gave his only son so that I could still breathe and have my existence, that cost something. So this manifestation stuff that people are playing in, the lives that because let me tell you something. God may work differently, but I believe in the spirit, it's the same way as it is in the natural. Matter, you cannot add or take away from this earth. And so, and I hope I'm saying this right, Lord. Please let it be right. And if it's wrong, somebody correct me. I don't care. You cannot take away or add. What was here will remain, but you can turn it and mold it into new things. So my thing with that is, Lord, I done forgot. So it must not have, it may have made or may not have been correct, but even still, you taking the life force of someone else, trying to take and manipulate someone else's blessing because you saw it. And like TD Jake said, basically it's covetous. And I've been saying that for months now. It's jealousy. The reason people are sitting here manifesting and doing all of this other stuff. We sit back and we watch all of these people. And it may be getting off topic, but you know what? That's what I love about, I'm going to say, the Holy Spirit, because people want to do too much focusing on taking notes and doing all this other stuff. Let the Spirit flow. And so my thing is, people want to do all of this envious work, this craftsmanship, and so they take it into their own hands. They see what someone else has and they're like, God, well, I know if you did it for them, you can do it for me. No, thank you for what you did for them, God. Bless them even more. Thank you for being God enough to continuously bless somebody and show us that you are good. That is it. That is it. I ask for my daily bread in the morning, but when I see somebody else blessed, thank you. Thank you. Now, note, I do know that you are near and that you are close. And if you pouring out blessings, I want to be next in line. But I do not want what you gave to them, because I know what you give to me could potentially be better. But whatever it is, it's going to fit my situation. So, I mean, I think that it's completely absurd that people proclaim to be spiritual, but they don't have God. You're not spiritual, you're wicked, and that is what it is. But I cannot condemn you. That's another thing too. It's hard speaking things without falling into a category, because that's what the accuser wants us to do. And that's exactly what I was going against this morning. Someone just basically trying to convince me otherwise, accuse me otherwise of what I know about God and the story of Job. No, it's not gonna work. It's not going to work. I know who God is to me. I know what God has shown me. And so that's why I don't contend. I'm not arguing. I'm not going to argue. If someone comes to me wanting to know about God, that is a different story. But I'm not going to argue with anybody. And going back to the jealousy, it's unnecessarily evil. It's unnecessarily evil. I'm not going out here chasing things of this world when there's so much more at stake. I know this message is all over the place, but if you get it, then you get it. If you don't, I don't care. It's not my business. It's not my business. It's for somebody, and I know the person who is on the same frequency that I'm on, they're gonna be able to get it. They're gonna write what they need to write down. They're gonna take what they need to take and understand. I hope they take everything, because it all plays a part, because it's really just about hearing something but then doing your own research with God. Don't just hear something and run with it. Let God minister to you. Let God speak to you. Get with God yourself. That is what happened with this Job situation, where they were saying one thing, God came and contended with me in another area. And I'm okay with that. I am okay with that, because it cannot be about the things. There was so much about God. It's not that God had an ego trip, but it's the same kind of confidence that God gives us. And there was a thing that they did, Wednesday night Bible study, and this woman, she basically said something about her confidence. She don't really believe in herself. And I didn't like the answer that the man gave, but everybody has their own experience. But I believe confidence is a God-given thing. And everybody And I mean, you can ask for an increase. It's just like the gifts. I feel like confidence falls under the gift of faith, because when you believe in God, you can believe in yourself. And when you believe in yourself, you can do all things through Christ that strengthen you. And so one aspect of a believing in yourself is knowing that God is not going to forsake me, because God said that I should be created in his image, and I was created in his image. I am not God, but I am a little g. And Jesus even said that. So anybody who want to be pressed, I am a little g God. So God knew what he was doing, because he wanted me to have authority. And Miss Dr. Anita Phillips spoke on that too. God, we need power. I'm tired of being, weak and all this other stuff. I need power. I need to be empowered. And the words, listen, God has been doing nothing but confirming me in so many aspects, and I used to lack confirmation so badly. But I can honestly say it was probably because I wasn't doing the right thing. I wasn't living right. And I'm still struggling, but God moved a thing out of my way, because I believe it's time. I believe it's time, and not just for me, not for us. It's for us. And so, one, we need power. We need power, but we also need to understand, because the whole premise of this was to talk about Job, and really get to, I guess, even though this isn't in the chapter of Job, but or whatever, wherever Job resonates. And that's the thing too. I be like, God, I don't even know where this is at. But when it falls on me, it's like, stop the research and speak from your spirit. And that is it. The knowledge will come. That is what the gift of knowledge does. When you say, God, use me when the time comes. I don't have this gift. I don't have that. If God wanted me to speak in tongues right now, child, maybe it'll happen. I be trying sometimes, but it's like it don't flow. It don't happen. But I believe that God could do it if he wanted to. If he needed it to be done in this hour, it would happen. And so, that is just where I fall with really, I guess, being unstable, some people would say, because a lot of things we look at as wrong or bad, God uses, because it takes a crazy person sometimes to fall off from the schedule, fall off from the ways of the world, the society standard, and get the job done. And so my thing is, what I believe God wanted me to focus on, maybe for me, maybe for other people, was the fact of, do not love this life more than you love God. And yes, it will show. It will show. I cannot tell you how, because you need to talk to God about that for yourself. We need to talk to God for ourselves. I'm going to stick by that until the ends of the earth. You need to speak to your father. I can't do it for you. Your mother can't do it for you. Your cousins can't do it for you. Nobody can do it for you. And I that is one thing that does break my heart, is to see a dying faith, dying people, because they get stuck in this world, that there is no risk. There is no risk. There is no one willing to really be a martyr, because a martyr isn't all the time being slain in your, like, physically. A martyr is really dying to I hope I say this right, but decisions, earthly standards, things. Like, are you choosing God? Are you willing to put your life on the line, where you could potentially maybe face death, like literally? Are you willing to do that? And so, I mean, I don't want to go around telling people that they need to do something crazy. Talk to God. Talk to God. Spend time with him. He wants that. He cherishes it. And I mean, all of my messages come back to the same thing, because that's my ministry. God loves you. Speak to God. But let me get back to that confidence thing. It is a God-given thing. It is a God-given thing. I hate how some people just make it like how would I say it? I don't know. It's weird because my God is so strong. My God is so mighty, powerful, sure of himself. It's not arrogance. It's Godfidence. And so that's not a new term. That's something that we've heard before, but I don't think people really believe it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I don't know. But I do know, but I don't know. You know? Mm. I hope I said what I needed to say because this video is going on 30 minutes. And I mean, it could go on for an hour if it wanted to. But I believe I did. I believe I did. Job pleased God because of his willingness to, one, never curse God. He never got upset with God. And you know, all of this good teaching going on and giving me new perspective, but I mean, not really giving me new, but really adding. I mean, that's just me. I feel as though the Bible is to be a confirming tool, and really the whole relationship starts with God. You going to him for yourself, and then the Bible is just should be used as a way to really relate and see. I guess it's like a blueprint, but it's not. Don't let that be okay. God's gonna bless me if I do this. God is gonna bless me if I do that. Don't limit God to that. That is an old thing. God constantly wants to do new things in this earth. Don't get me wrong. God can resort to old measures and bring back, but if we're going forward, let's just focus on what is before us and leave the former things. So I mean, yeah. Do not love anything, and I it's sad to say, but sometimes people are things. It's sad to say that because like I said, I don't know what it's like to lose somebody, and it's making me sad right now even think about it because there's so many people that lose people, and it's not, it's crazy, but it happens, and I speak peace, not just peace, but a comfort and wisdom over that situation. Because that's really the only thing that can minister to a person is wisdom. God's wisdom, the wisdom of heaven, the stature of heaven, and the knowledge of heaven, the favor of heaven. And so, yes, I think I attacked three things in this. People trying to be spiritual without having God. If you're not, you can't. It don't work like that. Um, you know, don't contend with the devil. Don't try to get personal in your pursuit. Don't try to do it without God, because you'll be like them children that tried to rebuke the demons and they got beat up because because the demon was like, I know them, but I don't know you. So I mean, if God don't send you to do that, stay in your place and do what you need to do. Also, you know, put God first. Cherish God. I may not have said that in like a form, but cherish God enough that this life is secondary. And maybe my faith is a little crazy because people in church, they used to judge people that had this weird faith. Don't be a weird believer. But faith is one of the first gifts. It's the first gift. Without faith, it's impossible to please God. So, I find it funny because like I told someone, we used as kids, you look at people, who go up and start talking about God and basically not trying to convince people, but just sharing the love of God. You used to look at it and be like, oh my God, will you hush? Like, but now as you start to unfold and you become that, it's like, oh, it's like, oh, so it's so crazy if it's okay if they think I'm crazy, because I don't care. They're not paying my way into heaven. They didn't pay for anything. So let them call me crazy. My thing is, I saw this in a sermon. If you're in a stall, and I believe God does have order, but you cannot tell God how to speak to you. You cannot tell God when to come to you, because in that case, he won't come at all. If you got to tell somebody how to love you, sometimes when they've been loving you the way that you need to be loved, because that's a lot of times what we don't understand. What we are given is what we need. What we think we want is so unnecessary. It's so unnecessary. It is so unnecessary. We're too busy trying to control our lives and control everybody else. It's the spirit, haughtiness, pride. Instead of letting what happened happens, letting God move in a moment. Someone comes up to you while you're in the bathroom and you're using the bathroom and they try to sow a word into you. Yes, it could be uncomfortable. It's inconvenient. But doesn't God work like that sometimes? Most times, all the time. So, I hate how we try to limit God and we try to badmouth potential vessels of God because of our comfortability. Because God, I ain't trying to lose everything, so you can use me, but don't use me to the point where I become like Job, that you honored me so much, you favored me so much, that you graced me, that you placed this hedge of protection. Don't take that from me. I'm good with you until you do some things like that. I hate that. I despise that, and I know God does too. But that right there, that is the wealth of the wicked. People that are afraid to lose in this life because they've chosen mortality over eternity. And that don't sit right with my spirit. Oh, okay. Anyway, I'm still going. Okay. But I'm gonna put this up. I don't know why I'm saying this, because hopefully it came across what needed to be portrayed and what needed to be said. This was basically confirmed 3 times for me and twice today. And so yeah. Sometimes God allows things. You got to understand the difference between God. People want to blame God, but as I was saying, trying to say in my description, which I don't really think I did too well, but the difference between God's allowing and God's giving. God gave me life. God gave me breath. God gave me a chance. God allowed something to happen because he was going to give me more. God allowed me to lose a thing. God allowed X, Y, and Z to occur in my life. God allowed me to really, because you got to understand when God, okay, and this, challenge me here, indulge. God does things with precision. I believe that. And so if there's a thing that we want to do and we don't want to listen to God, he will allow it. He didn't give you that thing that could potentially hurt you. He didn't give. Sometimes God will come to us and say, that ain't for you. That's not it. Stop. Go the other way. Don't do this. Don't do, but God allows things to happen. God does. People act like we don't have free will. We don't have free will, and people want to blame God for having free will. If you don't want free will, let me tell you something. There was a instance in the Bible, and I read it and I cannot remember it, but I think it has something to do with Israel. And I'm gonna have to read it. I don't want to spread false information, but I do know for a fact God will make you obey him. I believe it. I read it. I have to look it up. But you want that to be your life, then ask for it. But know that it comes with a price, and it comes with I know I've asked God ever since I was young to come into my life. And what that looks like for me, let me be real with you. It ain't easy. You lose a lot. You people come and go. It's not stable. It's not stable at all. And some people may say, well, that ain't God. Okay. I can't say whether it is or whether it's not. But I know God has protected me through it all. Because there are a lot of people who are not for me. There are a lot of people who didn't have God. They had evil and corrupt spirits. And sometimes you see it during, you see it after, and then sometimes God brings people into your life that will give you a message, and then they're not meant to be permanent. They're meant to aid you. But when you invite God in, you better expect it to be crazy and to be turbulent at times. But I mean, that doesn't mean that it's not working for you. In my knowledge of it, anyway. I mean, I don't know. This may not be factual to someone. Their biblical senses might be going off, but I believe in God. I believe in God. I don't believe in these things. I don't want to. Okay, I believe in the miracles, but I don't exist for the miracles, if that makes sense. I believe God because he's good. If he didn't bless me again, it would suck, but I would be fine because I have eternity. I have the sacrifice. I have grace. I have favor. You know what I'm saying? Like, favor is not just about things. I get to wake up every day. People, we take for granted these small things. I have all of my fingernails. I have nose hairs. I have this mole on my nose. I have things. I have what God has allowed me to maintain, and he hasn't taken away from me yet. So I'm still going, Jesus. I'm done. I'm done. Remember to stay positive. If I make another video, it's because God wanted. Well, I'm not gonna say God wanted to say something, but you know, because I don't get me wrong. I would love to be an oracle for God, but I hate that some people proclaim God is saying this, and you just be like, I don't know. I don't know. But that's why you always test it. Test the word. Test the word. I'm not afraid of anybody testing the word, because my thing is there are a specific group of people that are for me. And what I've experienced, what God allows me to go through, and what he gives me is for those people. That's it. And so I'm going to let my faith lead me. I'm going to let the spirit lead me. I'm going to let him be a lamp. And so the white around my lips, oh my God. Remember to stay positive. Keep that with you, spread it wherever you go. My name is Blue, if you didn't know. And with all that being said, love yourself and love others. Eternity over mortality, y'all. Make the right choice. I'm out.